What's going on, FA Nation? Jon Impemba here with James Grande. Welcome to the Fantasy Lineup NBA DFS podcast and live stream recording here for Monday's 6-game main slate. James, a lot of guys listed as questionable, probable. We've had some big names out over the weekend, kind of messing up the slates. So a couple of big names here, Giannis and Jokic, topping today's slate. 6 games, though. We looked at the schedule for this week. Pretty even keel. 6 to 8 games pretty much every day here.
Love this, John. Love it. Love this slate in general. You love the slates where you look at totals and they're all big, because then you're like, all right, not everyone is going to target this game, because when you look at Boston, Chicago, currently live at 238. Memphis, San Antonio, 238. Yes, 11.5 point spread, but suggesting John Morant will play. Didn't play in the front leg of a back-to-back on Sunday. So probably 11.5 suggests he plays here. Then you look at LA Denver. Wouldn't you know it? 241 total. Denver giving 9.5 to the Lakers. LeBron expected to play there. And then the other late night hammer, Kings Orlando, 238 current live total. Orlando getting 5.5. Great totals. Other than the Memphis spread, pretty good everywhere around. Very fun slate. Could get funner, depending on who's out, who's in. And there's a bunch of guys, like as you mentioned on the injury report, LeBron probable, Morant questionable, Westbrook probable, Barrett doubtful, Kelvin Johnson questionable.
Big time sad with his hamstring injury the other day.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, you and I both suffered through that. Steven Adams didn't play Sunday with an illness. Makes you, Xavier Tillman back on the board after his big night.
Right.
So a lot of potential sits here, a lot of potential value, aka the Spurs once again. But a fun looking slate, 6 games. You and I and the Discord have been rolling this week. Another good day for me on Sunday. Wish I entered more. I just wasn't feeling it. And of course, the days you're not feeling it, you just put up 340 points. It's all good. But on to Monday, let's continue this hot streak. Let's continue winning for FA Nation. FA Nation, we're going to keep winning for you. And they wrote us off, John. But we ain't right.
You didn't write back. Yeah.
We ain't right back though.
Six games. Let's get into it. Point guard. Ja's your top guy. Obviously, listed here as questionable. Didn't play with the thigh injury on Sunday. He's 10-3, and then there's a big price gap. Drops all the way down into the 8K range with Fox, McCollum, Brunson up to 8K now at $8,100. Drew Holiday down to $7,400. That feels like, even though the minutes have been limited here, he's kind of ramping himself back up, I would assume, a couple of games back. And there was that blowout, obviously, against Charlotte. Just kind of breaking down this slate, because it's only 6 games here. Like, Drew Holiday, if in the starting lineup against the Knicks at $7,400, is probably one of my favorite plays on the board.
I'm indifferent about it, I think. I don't disagree that it's a great price. I don't disagree that it's a great spot. I just don't know what the minutes are going to be. As you mentioned, maybe he's ramped up, and maybe it's not something I should worry about.
I look at it this way. He played 19 minutes in his return game where they played a full game and it was competitive and he was limited. He played 19 minutes in the blowout in Charlotte. We only played 2 quarters. So I feel like if that game was close, he probably would have been more on his way to traditional playing time than the 19 minutes had there not been a blowout.
So looking at his last return from injury, right? He plays 23 minutes against Philly. That was his return. The next game, 3 days later, so he has a game, 3-day break, Portland, 28 minutes in an 8-point game. I don't know. I'm not saying that he couldn't get it done in 28 minutes or 30 minutes.
But this is now his 3rd game back. His 3rd game back, he played 36.
Yeah, but the ramp-up hasn't been the same in that instance, right? Because he's been in 2 blowouts, or 19 in the return and then 19 in a blowout.
But it was only an illness. This wasn't an injury.
You could be right. You're probably right. More
often than not, right. I am. Anyways, in 2 games against the Knicks, he's averaging 41 fantasy points. He's averaging 41 fantasy points in 2 games against the Knicks this year. 74. When was the last time he was even this cheap? 7,400 against Orlando back December 5th. But he's been a mid 8K guy for a lot of this year. So
the whole year. It's a great spot. It's such a good position. I'm curious if Memphis plays Desmond Bane here. Desmond Bane hasn't played back-to-backs yet since returning from injury. So, like, will that – like, if nobody Desmond Bane and Morant plays, like, I'm all in on Morant. I know the spread could get out of hand, but, Ja's going to score 50 actual here. De'Aaron Fox in a 240 total looks really good lately, 40-plus fantasy points in 5 of his last 6 games, 30-plus in 3 of his last 6. McCollum, still no Ingram, still no Zion, had 50 fantasy points last time he played. And Brunson, RJ Barrett listed doubtful, playing 40 minutes and putting up 45-plus fantasy points in 3 of his last 4. Mm-hmm. I just love point guard, and I'm not saying I won't get to highlight. I love Westbrook too. To be honest, Westbrook's been amazing the last 3 games. So Lakers on like a 6-game winning streak, and I think in large part, Russell Westbrook is at the forefront of that. So
hitting 50% of his shots definitely helps Russell.
Yeah, and less threes, more attacking the rim. Like everything's been really good for Russ. So it's a really, really, really good point guard position. Don't hate Holiday.
I mean, Holiday went for 45 fantasy points before he got sick. So I mean, it's not like he doesn't have that same upside.
No, he does. Absolutely does. Maybe I could completely be reading the situation wrong, and he could play 35 minutes and break the slate.
Fortunately, this is also a site where you can play 3 guards if you wanted to.
Correct.
And on obviously on DraftKings, on FanDuel, you can play 4. So all of these guys are in play. Again, I don't hate any of the names you mentioned. I mean, how do you argue with any? They're all putting up 50 fantasy points a night for the most part. Right. So maybe that's a case to not spend up for John Morant. We just talked about what happened in Charlotte, right? I worry about a blowout. What's he do? He plays 27 minutes. If this game is a blowout, he doesn't play 30 minutes. You're going to need him to get you a lot of volume there in order to hit the tag. So below that group, you got Jamal Murray at $6,800 home against the Lakers. Quickly, Fultz, Trey Jones. Where are we going in the mid-tier here?
Murray, I think, is pretty safe. Has played the Lakers a bunch. This is their 4th meeting with the Lakers this year. He's averaged 34 fantasy points against them. The price is dropping, so I can get to Murray. Quickly's fine as long as RJ Barrett's not on the floor. He's going to play 40 minutes. Hasn't really shown the ceiling with Brunson back, but he's fine. Markelle Fultz has been pretty awesome of late. Very consistent scoring. 7 straight games of 28 or more fantasy points. The minutes are just super consistent, even with Jalen Suggs back. 6 steals, obviously not like sustainable, but he's given us 30-plus fantasy points more often than not. And I'm a Trey Jones stan when guys are out. We know Vassell's already out.
I'm pretty sure I have an autographed Trey Jones card somewhere.
Shout out to you for shout out to Trey Jones for his value just skyrocketing for you. Maybe sell high after he goes for 40 fantasy points.
I gotta go find that, but I'm pretty sure I got it. No Marcus Smart, doubtful here. Are you going Brogdon or White?
I think Brogdon just has more upside. I mean, we know Malcolm Brogdon is a stud.
Yeah. For
what reason he doesn't play like regularly? Who knows? But you could. I don't want to say you could play them both because like they're 3rd and 4th options regardless of
and Brian Tatum for sure.
Yeah, like they could be 4th and 5th options on some nights.
Also,
like, who knows?
Tatum, so they can
also to Brogdon. So like. I lean Brogdon, but you could play in both. Chicago's defenses. There's a reason this total is 230.
Yep. Value tier. Which point guards are jumping out to you? Do you go back to Alvarado? I know he had a big day with McCollum out the other day. McCollum back, obviously, but I know you've been kind of touting Alvarado a little bit lately. Anyways, and he's been pretty decent for them. Richardson's a guy that we've been taking peeks at. He played 28 minutes. Where are you looking at the value?
Yeah, I mean, Alvarado played 32 minutes against Brooklyn with McCollum there, so I think they're going to turn to him as long as they're dealing with the injuries that they're dealing with. Richardson's going to keep playing. I think we're getting into a territory where Josh Richardson's becoming a very good value. He's going to be a very popular value again.
They got to trade him at some point, so they got to let him play.
They got to trade him. They do have to trade him. Vassell out, Keldon questionable, Pirtle questionable. Pirtle's probable. So, I mean, they're
missed
dealing
Zach Collins Day the other day, or at least I did. You might have played him.
No, he didn't have like any foul trouble, which I thought was I was so proud of Zach Collins for not getting the foul trouble. Look what happens. No foul trouble, 41 fantasy points. It's a miracle what happens. Josh Richardson is going to be very popular, and he's been paying off all the popularity. Like, he was extremely chalky against Boston the other day, extremely chalky against Detroit, and he paid off both in spade, and he's going to do it, probably be popular again, and probably paid off again. So both those guys are in play. Obviously, if Vassell sits, like, punt on Malachi Branham maybe. He's been decent. He plays 20-plus minutes every night. So
Richardson for the 4K is probably the where I'm lowest.
No, for sure. The play.
Shooting guard JB is at $9,500 again, just kind of giving you that 40-ish fantasy point range. Use them in cash games if you want. Levine pop because again he has that upside. 50 and 62 fantasy points the last 2 games here. He's $7,500. There is no Marcus Smart. He's gonna get Jaylen Brown defensively. Brogdon's a decent defender. Derek White's a decent defender. So tough matchup potentially here for Zach LaVine, but again, a guy that's just very cheap for what his upside is.
Yeah, I mean, he even gave after the Utah interview, he was like, "Yeah, I feel like myself again," which is scary because he is averaging 23 actual this year, not feeling like himself. Right. But I mean, 55% shooting over his last 6 games, 54% from 3, 94% from the line. Like, probably unsustainable, but when he's going this good, it's hard to ignore him. 3 of his last 6 games, he scored 36 plus actual. He's on a different planet right now. And as you mentioned, Boston has a plethora of elite perimeter defenders, right?
Mm-hmm.
They do.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Marcus Smart is not there. I think that helps Levine's cause quite a bit. I'm okay you said it all year. Like, every time Zach LaVine's mid 7K, it's like, yeah, let's do that. And here we are. No,
his floor isn't that low, so like, if you get 30 fantasy points at 7,500, it's not going to kill you, right? Yep. But when he pops for 50 or 60, you're hitting a home run. So. Yep. If Baines, and you said you liked him, if he's out, obviously Dylan Brooks at 5,800. Tyus Jones, you've been playing without Desmond Bane lately. You like that, I know, as well. Kevin Huerter against Orlando's fine. Again, just a boatload of minutes. He's been really good lately also. So that kind of helps at 57. Quentin Grimes gets a boatload of minutes. I don't ever play him, but you can at least guarantee 40 minutes, it feels like, out of him here. Cole Anthony goes up and down, but the minutes tend to be there for him. So any value shooting guards that kind of like you're keying in on for your lineups, or are you just kind of moving about?
Probably all the people you mentioned, all the people that we've already talked about. Josh Richardson is here. Like, Gary Harris plays 20 plus minutes. You could do that. Romeo Langford is going to play a boatload of minutes.
Yeah, he starts.
If there's no Keldon, I mean, look, he played 29 minutes in the game Vassell goes down. He then played 31 minutes in the game that Keldon goes down. So, very low floor, but, like, can't say I dislike 12 and 15 shot attempts from Romeo Langford.
Yeah,
that's something that I don't think we're accustomed to seeing.
Nope. And he can give you, the occasional block and steal, like that's in his kind of his athletic profile. So.
Yep. Yeah, so I think Langford profiles pretty well here.
I mean, if you go back, go back and look at games where he's played at least 25 minutes. Last 2 nights, 24, 21. You go back to 12, 29, 28 minutes against the Knicks, 33 fantasy points in that game. 25 against Cleveland, but that's a tough matchup, only at 12. But then 29 against Miami, he gives you 30. 28 minutes against Houston, he gives you 29 fantasy points. Yeah, he's had some good opportunities here when those guys are out of the lineup. He's actually come through and produced. So I like it. I like Romeo at 37. It's a good call.
That's it for me.
Okay. Small forward. 6 games here. So again, we're getting into some of these higher priced guys. LeBron James at 10-9. Can always play LeBron as long as he's in the lineup. It terrifies me at a 10 o'clock game when they're like, all of a sudden LeBron's like a game time decision. You're like, I have nobody to pivot you. What do you mean? Fortunately, he did play. Still only had 48 points against fantasy points against Atlanta, though, so it wasn't great. But bounced back against Sacramento. Always can play him. Tatum against Chicago here. He's averaging 55 fantasy points in the 3 games. I mean, he probably ranks right up there, the top 3 guys on the slate at this point.
Yep.
Let's see. DDR's 9K, Kuzma, Banchero. Where are we? Again, smaller slate, so there's, the core guys that we know about. I would say all of those are in play if you want to go there, but do you have a favorite of that mid-range group?
Probably Bencaro, just the way he's playing lately. 25 actual in 3 straight, 38 plus fantasy points in 3 straight. The rebounds are pretty consistent. The assists 3 plus in 4 straight. Steal in 3 straight. So Bencaro putting it all together right now. An elite matchup against the Kings. Harrison Barnes is not going to be able to guard him anywhere near the rim. So I love Bencaro 82. Kuzma's fine. DeRozan's fine, as you mentioned. Nobody played DeRozan. I played him in one of my lineups on Saturday, and he did nothing in the first half and then just exploded in the second half. 35 actual. No one's going to get to him at that price, so if you want to get to him. But it's like, I feel like DeRozan and Jaylen Brown are kind of like just in such similar pricing.
You get DeRozan a little more consistent, higher ceiling than JB.
Yeah, correct. But like they're both kind of, and I think what's hurting Jaylen Brown is that he was so good rebounding the basketball, and then Robert Williams became a thing again, and it's like, that the rebounding thing is just gonna stop.
Right. Yep. That's basically what happened. Our Will got some more minutes, and he's pulling down everything there. So, MPJ 59. Any interest? Najee Marshall's been really killing it lately too.
Dude, Najee Marshall is. There's no Zion, so he's going to continue to play all the minutes he can handle. I prefer Marshall, but like it's also hard to ignore any matchup against the Lakers right now because they can't defend anybody. It's just every game that they are involved in is just high scoring. So Michael Porter for tournaments, Najee Marshall, all formats.
Who's getting the run with Lonnie Walker and Austin Reeves out?
And Troy They've been giving a whole bunch of guys run. So they gave Max Christie 20-something minutes the other night. 2 nights ago, they gave Kendrick Nunn a lot of run. They gave Toscano Anderson a consistent run. They've given Wayne Gabriel consistent run. They are piecing this thing together. But it is Schroeder, Westbrook, LeBron, Bryant on the floor at all times. And then it's like mix and match the rest of their lineup. So like none of these wings, I think Troy Brown would be fine if he were to play. I think Troy Brown could see pretty good minutes if he were to play. I don't know if I could get there at 4K though. He's still like the 5th option on the.
That's fine. Do you have anybody else here at small forward?
Herb Jones was so good the other night, guarding Luka. I think we're gonna see. Yeah, I think we're gonna see similar thing with him guarding Kuzma tonight. And Kuzma's like always has the ball, always turning the ball over. So I think Herb could be in line for another good night. Obviously he benefited offensively from McCollum being out, but Herb Jones 49, I don't hate it.
Okay. Power forward position, you got Giannis here at 12K. Giannis, what a disaster!
In the garden.
Yeah, we got the Madison Square Garden. He's averaging 66 fantasy points against them.
Is that good?
2 games this
year. Is that
so.
good? That's good, right?
Yeah. And he went for 66 in each of those games too. It wasn't like he had one game where it was a monster. Nope, 66 on both. We're in. Big bounce back spot, obviously. They lost by 30 to Charlotte. Nobody saw that one coming. He had 12 fantasy points. So, I'm willing to run it back there. Thoughts on Randall, Zinger? The 2 guys at the top here?
Dude, Randall is as safe as it gets right now. If there's no RJ Barrett, I mean, we're talking about a guy who's just putting up 53
Does the Giannis matchup bother you, though? No? He's averaging 35 fantasy points in 2 games against them.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the one I'll say agreed that it could be worrisome. Agreed that the 35 fantasy points, not great. I'm looking through. There wasn't foul trouble in either of those games, but RJ Barrett was involved in both those. So, like, maybe I should scale back my thoughts. Maybe it's just tournaments because there could be foul trouble. But if he stays out of foul trouble,
he gives up a lot of size to that front court. Even Bobby Portis comes in and is bigger than him. So
yeah, he does.
But he's still. I mean, he's just been really. I mean, he hit 5 threes the other day in the first quarter. I think it was. So he's been insane.
Death taxes. Julius Randle having a monster first quarter has been the story of this stretch.
If Adams doesn't play, or you go back to Triple J, or are you in on Triple J regardless of Adams' status?
Dude, I'm going back to Triple J regardless right now. Again, another guy. He fouled out, yes, but was all that happened like in the fourth quarter. He was
Yeah.
not in foul trouble early. He was not in foul trouble in the third quarter, at least early on. That all happened late when that game got a little close. Dude, he is just you. I mean, you've been on the Triple J bandwagon for years.
For a long time.
He is just an absolute freak when he's on the floor. He just does everything. He can do every single thing on the floor. So I'm willing to go back to the well. I think it doesn't hurt if Desmond Bane's not there either. I think there's a lot more opportunity for offense when Desmond Bane's not there. So, yeah, I'm going back to the well. Tournaments only, though.
6 straight games with a double-double for Bobby Portis. He is $6,700.
And you know what's going to happen tonight,
John? A double-double against the Knicks this year.
You know what's going to happen?
Nope.
Nobody's going to play him.
Probably true.
Nobody plays Bobby Portis. He was in the best matchup on the board in Charlotte. He was 0.9% owned.
Yeah.
Nobody
played Giannis that night too. It's like everybody knew that game was going to be a blowout somehow. You know, they had
everyone predicted everyone predicted the other way around.
Yeah, the other way around. Yeah, and it's just
even I sent you my lineups and I didn't have Giannis.
Giannis was 8%. I was like, oh, Giannis at 8% against Charlotte. Like, this is a great opportunity here. Nope, complete. If it was a blowout the other way, at least I would have got some fantasy points. Instead, I got 12.
True.
Aaron Gordon to 66 again. He's been playing really well lately. This is
fine.
a decent matchup for him. Jeremy Sohan with no Keldon in that group. Any interest in going back there?
Yeah, I mean, like in theory, you would think no Keldon, no Vassell, there would be like improved offense.
Mm-hmm.
Jeremy Sohan just like isn't that guy offensively. He's just so inconsistent offensively. I don't know. He is what he is. Like, he's fine.
Why did Hachimura only play 19 minutes? That's what I want to know.
I mean, they got blown out. The minutes were all over the place in that game. I think Hachimura is the tournament play anyways because this could happen. This has happened like all year, and then he randomly gets in this stretch of like where he's playing well. I don't know. But knowing that it can happen, I think it kind of like pulls me back. Like, play him in tournaments only.
Yeah. Anybody else here? Value?
I mean, obviously, Nance. Like, if he plays, he's probable. He's gonna play 20 minutes, right? Could play more. I don't know. He's been pretty bad when he's been on the floor lately.
If he's active.
Clark, if he's active. And we don't know anything about Memphis today.
Sure.
Like, Clark could play, could not. Steven Adams could play, might not. Like, obviously, Clark, if Adams is out and Clark plays, that obviously bodes well for Clark. So, sure. Patrick Williams is playing monster minutes. Like,
yeah.
Has been good, was bad last game, but 29, 28, 22 fantasy points a game.
And it's his job to guard Tatum today, so.
His job to guard Tatum could be in foul trouble early. So, possibly in play. Trying to look to see if there's any value. Like,
it's really
hard.
There's not a lot.
I mean, again, like Toscano Anderson and Wayne Gabriel are both going to play. Do we want to rely on either of those guys? I don't think so. So probably. All
right, center then. Jokic is 11-7. He gets the Lakers here again.
Dude, I said it the other night. I said it to you on this pod. The way to win a tournament tonight is using 1% Nikola Jokic, and he went for 70 because Cleveland, right? No one's going to play him.
No one's going to play him, yeah.
But, like, so you say it sometimes. Like, we overlook matchups or we, like, overstate how bad matchups are sometimes when we're talking about good players. Jokic is that guy.
Yeah.
He's the back-to-back MVP, you know?
He's averaging 60 fantasy points in 3 games against the Lakers. I'm trying to see if there was any outlier games here against them. 68 fantasy points on October 26th. He went 31, 13, and 9 in that game. So that's his high.
Is he who's your top spend? Is it him or Giannis?
Still probably Giannis. Still probably Giannis. Or LeBron. If you don't need to go all the way up there.
You probably don't. I think that's right. I think LeBron...
current LeBron can give you 76 and 67 fantasy points.
Sure. No, sure. I don't know. I have no disagreement there.
Other than Jokic, of course, you have Sabonis against Orlando at 10-5. We know the run that Sabonis has been on, 50 plus in like 6 of 7 games. So
with a broken finger.
Yeah, with the broken finger
or hand or whatever it is.
Yep. Can certainly go that. I told you the other day, Vucevic was just on a roll. And he goes.
Dude, he is rolling.
I mean, this is not a good matchup per se, but he's
averaging.
Yeah, he's averaging 18, 6, and 5. Now, again, no Rob Williams during any of those games, but
right.
Rob Williams isn't playing 30 minutes right now. So,
well, did you see? So, have you seen this report about Tatum, the Tatum thing with Rob Williams?
No.
There's a report that circulated that said Tatum spoke with, I don't know if he spoke with Missoula or Rob Williams or both, but there's a report that Tatum has said to somebody in Boston brass that he wants Rob Williams to play more.
I mean, he's playing 20 minutes a night for the last week, so he's at least ramping himself up. But yeah, he's a difference maker on that team on both sides of the floor. So,
yep.
You know, he's obviously he does all the lobs, he gets offensive rebounds, he shot blocks. So, I mean, the Celtics are championship team when he's playing 30 minutes. So,
right.
Yeah, we'll see. But yeah, again, a good time to try to have him because Vuk has had his way with Boston so far.
Agreed.
This year here. I'll never know what's going on with Jonas Valanciunas. So, I
mean, he benefited from no one being in the lineup.
That's what I'm saying, right? But like only 26 minutes against Brooklyn in a game that was a 6-point game. Like, wow, what's going on?
Because they probably, I mean, Claxton just too athletic. I think it just probably comes down to like traditional center versus Pelicans. Like,
but he's got so much size on those guys.
I know. I mean, Washington's going to play Gafford, right? They're going to play Gafford 26 to 30 minutes tonight. They're going to play, but like if Gafford gets in foul trouble, now he's off the floor. Now Porzingis is stretching the floor. We're not going to see Valanciunas. He's not going to play. Right. So tournaments only.
You mentioned Thomas Bryant already. You guys been everything we knew he was with Washington when they weren't playing him.
Freak of nature, this guy.
Yep. He just has a tough spot against Denver, obviously. Wendell Carter, likewise, similar price tags. Got to deal with Sabonis tonight, so risky plays, but they both have pretty decent upside.
Yeah, both in play, probably more so in tournaments, but both in play.
Got to figure out the Adams situation here. Pirtle on the other side is questionable here, or probable, I guess.
Yeah.
Big minutes for him the other night, came through for 50 fantasy points. He had a 47 fantasy point game back in December 31st, so we know what his ceiling looks like. Anybody else at center for you?
I can see a lot of people get into Pirtle tonight, by the way. Just price. I don't know. Gafford continues to be awesome. 30 fantasy points in 3 straight, 4 or 5, 28 plus fantasy points in 5 straight, 25 minutes in 5 straight. Don't move his price whatsoever. It just sits at 47. Rob Williams, we mentioned 4,400.
Mitchell Robinson had his 15-point-20 rebound game against.
Oh yeah, yep. Yeah, sure.
I would much rather play Rob Williams and Gafford though. So
yeah, Gafford, Rob Williams, I think both in play. Tillman, obviously, if there's no Steven Adams and Clark again, he played 33 minutes. Played 33 minutes last night. 1 rebound, 1 point away from a double-double. Still had 30 fantasy points. So Tillman firmly in play. That's probably it.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I'm with you there. If like it doesn't really matter. Hernan Gomez has been giving you like 20 fantasy points in like 17 minutes, but
I played him the other night. I played him in both my lineups on Saturday. I banked on Valanciunas because he was questionable in that game going into the game. And I was like, maybe Christian Wood will put him in foul trouble, or there's an injury, or there's going to be a blowout because they're not active. So I actually took a shot on Willie Goat. So if, Willie Goat played, like you said, he plays.
He's giving you Enes Kanter vibes right now, right? Like 18 minutes.
It is Enes Kanter vibes. 22 fantasy points at 3,800 didn't let me down. He didn't let me down.
All right, let's build a lineup. Where do you want to go at center, Gafford or Rob Williams?
Probably Rob will, and we could just play. Let's spend up on LeBron.
Okay. LeBron at power forward.
Because if the reports are right, and Rob Williams starts getting like 25, 26 minutes,
Yep. All right, where are we going at point guard?
Brogdon.
Brogdon.
Unless we want to use Brogdon as shooting guard, because shooting guard was a pretty bad position.
Yeah, it was bad. All right, yeah, let's go Brogdon, shooting guard. Which point guard did you like the most here? Obviously, I liked Holiday. We could also still play Holiday, but like, who is the one guy that you liked?
I mean, I like Westbrook. I like Westbrook a lot, dude. I like Westbrook a lot. But
LeBron. Listen, if the Lakers beat the Nuggets, it's because LeBron and Westbrook had monster days together. So
well, like they both did, and they did last game, right? Like they both had LeBron had what 57, 58, and Westbrook had 52, 54.
Yeah.
So I'm a big fan of Westbrook on this slate.
Westbrook. So we have 5,400 for a small forward guard. Do we want Josh Richardson, right?
Yeah, Josh Richardson for sure.
He's our other guard play. 5,900 for a small forward utility.
Jaren Jackson Jr. Maybe?
Or do you want him or Portis?
That's a good question. You pick.
We'll go block upside for Jaren Jackson.
Yeah.
LeBron got small forward eligibility. He does. Beautiful. Small forward LeBron. Power forward Triple J. 5,400 for forward and a util. Going double pump center and go Gafford.
Yeah.
$6,200 for forward. Hoarder 57.
Yeah, Hoarder. He's been playing great. Did play 40 minutes, I think, because there was no Malik Monk in that game. Malik Monk off the injury report, so something to monitor. But you're correct when you said he's been balling 34 fantasy points in 4 or 5. So I'd be okay with Hoarder. Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. That's it. $500 left over. We got Russell Westbrook, Malcolm Brogdon, LeBron James, Jaren Jackson Jr., Robert Williams, Josh Richardson, Kevin Huerter, and Daniel Gafford rounding out the lineup here. Playbook will be out today by, I think Dylan Clemens will be on that, so be on the lookout. 6 games. We'll be in the Discord if you need us. Find us on Twitter as well. And James and I will be back for tomorrow. See you guys later.